we are going to have a short testimony about the possible dangers that we may face if we use the internet, social media, our cell phones in a wrong way. So we have guests here. I would like to invite her to come forward. Her name is Destiny Harris, and she'll be sharing with us something that happened with her family that led her to become a speaker in this area, and also she wrote a book about that. So I will give her the microphone, and she can explain better what happened and what are the advice that she can give us to help, our family members to be aware of these dangers.
Thank you so much. I shared this story to create awareness because what we experienced, I never ever knew that it even existed. And the first part of preventing something is to be aware that it's even happening. And I also share it with you because I hope that it will prevent it from happening to you or your loved one or someone you know. And in regards to health, we know that grief can cost us our health, but the decisions that we make in regards to grief can be life or death. You can die of a broken heart. And so we know that, like what Barbara's been sharing, we need both the physical and the spiritual. We need to take care of our physical body that houses our mind and do the part that we can do, but then we also have to leave to God the part that only He can do. And we have to lay it at His feet and have faith and trust and continue standing on His promises. So I'm going to be talking about that today. So I want to share part of my story with you, and then I'm going to share a few other things, and then I'll come back around to our story to end it. In 2018, our daughter left our home in the middle of the night and got on a plane headed to India to meet someone she had been talking to online for 2 years without our knowledge. His father had paid for a one-way ticket for her to come to his country. All the while she had a boyfriend here at home, so we had no idea that she was talking to anyone else. So with the help of Homeland Security, our U.S. congressmen and U.S. Marshals, and the Indian government and divine intervention, we were able to go over there and get her and bring her home. But as soon as we landed at our airport, she was once again taken from us, but this time by people we knew, people we trusted, and who were helping us in the beginning. You see, our daughter was angry with us because she did not perceive the danger that she was in. She said, I didn't want them to save me. And she still does not perceive the danger that she was in. So it has been over 6.5 years, and my husband or I have not received the first text or any contact from her. Before this happened, I didn't even know what the word estranged meant, but now I know it is a pandemic in our world. So I want to share a few facts with you, and then we'll go back and finish the story. Today, 50 million people are being trafficked in the United States. There was only 6 million in the Holocaust, so that puts it into perspective. And human trafficking is reported in all 50 states, so no state is immune. There are 500,000 predators online every day with your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren. And they lure them in different ways. One is a romantic relationship, which was our case. Our daughter, that's what it was. It's called Romeo. And what happens is they enter in this romantic relationship, and then one day someone eventually drives up to the front door and they get in the car thinking that they're going to go to on a date, and instead they're driven across the country. That's one scenario. Then there's the job opportunity that seems too good to be true, And then the interview is far away, and they have to drive away from their family and from the home that they know. And then the details are unclear of what the job is about. And then they also lure your children through video games. As young as 8 years old, they will befriend them playing a video game online. And also many times the victims are the recruiters. So children that are being trafficked, they will be the ones recruiting your child. They're their own age. And this is very sad. I do some speaking engagements, and a couple of weeks ago I was at the Monroeville Museum, and I had a lady come up to me afterwards, and she works at the human trafficking safe house for children to go to after they've been trafficked. And she told me that they have children as young as 6 years old all the way up to 19 years old there. And the next thing she told me was something that I really couldn't even believe that it was possible. She said some of these children that come to us have been sold 40 to 80 times a day. I don't even know how that's every 15 minutes for 24 hours, and you're not really eating or sleeping. You're an object. This doesn't just happen to girls. It happens to boys. It happens to teens. It happens to young adults. It happens to men and women, and it happens to senior citizen men and women, as far as, at least for the part of extortion, if not the actual trafficking, because you'll get in an online relationship thinking you're with someone that you love, and then they extort money from you. You send money to them. And this is an operation, an organization behind it. The person you're talking to is just the front man. It may not even be them. It's a business. They know what they're doing. And they're very skilled at it. And here's the really scary part, is that only 1 to 2% of those trafficked ever get rescued. 1 to 2%. That means we have to do a really good job of prevention, because once you're taken, it is very unlikely you will ever make it out. One of the reasons that I believe that it's hard to rescue is because of something called trauma bonding, and they used to call it Stockholm Syndrome. But what it is whenever the victim starts sympathizing with and protecting their perpetrator. And in some of the speakings that I do, I go into a little bit more detail about that, but you can look it up. And the other part of that statistic is only 0.1% of the perpetrators ever get prosecuted. And I believe the reason for that is because we have a corrupt system. There's a lot of money to be made in trafficking. And two of the things that fund human trafficking is prostitution and pornography. And if we understood that those are the avenues, these girls that are in videos and magazines are not there because they want to be. They're there because they're forced into it most of the time. So they have to act really well, like they're enjoying it, or they'll be beaten. So just remember that. Now I want to go back to our story. The price of the plane ticket that my daughter was given to come to their country was what we were told was equal to a year's worth of rent in their currency and in their country. So this was not an amount that you would pay just to meet someone. This was a substantial investment, and an investment that I'm sure that they were seeking to get a return on. We fully believe that we thwarted an attempt at human trafficking that day of our daughter when he met her, or had him meet him in the New Delhi airport that day. And that New Delhi is the sex trafficking capital of the world. It's the largest city and the largest country. It's also 30 minutes from the Pakistan border, and our pastor told us if she gets across that border, you'll never see her again. In Pakistan, where Christians are killed for their faith, and yet in this country of India, which is a Hindu religion that worships thousands of gods. Our daughter was made to believe that Christians were paid money by the government for being Christians. That's how naive she was, and that is sadly how easy it was for him to make her believe a lie, just one of the lies that he made her believe. We may never know the true intentions in that young man's mind that day unless he comes forward and tells someone, or someone else who knows comes forward. But we do believe that human trafficking was just plan A, and since we thwarted that now he was just settling for plan B, which was a chance at U.S. citizenship. So after we brought our daughter back, she, 7 months later, went back to India. She sold her car to go, and she married him. And then she came back to the U.S. and started working 2 jobs, sleeping on the floor, to try to get him into this country to be a spousal sponsor on a marriage visa for him. We did learn to our knowledge that he did make it into this country a little over a year ago in January 2024. And as soon as he got here, he went straight to Chicago. He never even saw our daughter. Still hasn't seen her. Supposedly he's driving an Amazon truck, and it's interesting because as his dream of wanting to be a truck driver, it does fit the description because that's what they do. They traffic girls in trucks across the country, and I-10 is a major route. So I don't want to leave you without any hope. The story is not over. I wanted to tell you a few of the miracles that happened. And number one is that our daughter left us a letter telling us showing us her route information. Otherwise, we would have no clue what to do. That was the first miracle. The second miracle was that we had never been anywhere before. We didn't have passports. We didn't have visas. We hardly ever went anywhere, not even in our own country. So normally it would take about 2 to 3 months to get all these things together, and we were able to do it in a matter of 3 days. The third miracle, and this I have to preface with, our Adventist church played a huge role in helping rescue our daughter because we're a worldwide church. And so the president of the conference in Washington, D.C. used to be the conference president in India. And he knew the conference president, and he got in touch with him, and he arranged a way for our daughter to have a safe place to go, at least until we could get there to her. So a church family got out of their beds at 3 a.m. in the morning, which I'll be forever grateful for, and met her at the airport so that she would have an option whether to go with that family or to go with the boy and his supposed sister. And our daughter chose to go with the family that we sent. So that was another miracle. But once we got there, we only saw her for 1 day, and the rest of the time we were not allowed to see her. They were keeping her from us. And I made a decision, which I sometimes regret because she's not with me right now. But I made the decision to allow her to choose after that 1 day with us if she wanted to stay with us or go with him. Because I knew that this is a gift that God gives us, is the gift of choice. Even when he knows that the choices we could make could be fatal. But I had to show her that I wasn't trying to control her, that I was just trying to give her choice so that she could see what would happen from that. I trusted God that he would keep her alive. And it could have ended up fatal, but it did end up that she's not with me now. And I think God does that same thing with us. You know, we make choices that could be fatal and definitely breaks off our relationship to him. But the fourth miracle, and there were others, but ultimately, at the very last day, at twilight, as the sun was going down and we were about to leave, and we didn't think we were coming home with her. We thought we were leaving here without her. And we didn't know the government. We didn't know where we were. We didn't even speak the language. We didn't know how to go anywhere. But through our church and through God's providence, God led us to a government office, and they were able to go and get her with military guards and bring her to us and put us on a plane back home. So I wrote a book about what happened, and it's called From 8,000 Miles, The Story of Internet Danger and How Our Daughter Was Saved, because I knew that I had to tell this story to prevent this from happening to anyone else. Like I said, I didn't know that it was possible. I didn't know these things happened. But as I began to write this story, I was telling God, like I was ruminating over this for weeks. I'm like, God, I don't have a good ending. I don't have an ending to this story. And so I got on my elliptical one morning, no exercise, we have to take care of ourselves. And I was still pondering this question, asking God, like, I don't have a good ending. And I turned on the Christian radio station, and the first thing I heard was the announcer, and he said this: hand God the pen, and he will write an ending you didn't see coming. And so it's not over. The story's not over, and your story's not over. And I stand here today to tell you that I am believing God for our second miracle. Our first miracle, he got her back physically, twice actually. And it's going to take another miracle to bring her back to us mentally, because her heart is far from us. But I'm telling you that I'm standing here on the promises of God. I am speaking it to you that I believe that he has a bigger plan, and he has a bigger plan for your life. And I encourage you to tell your story, because every trial and tribulation that you go through is for a purpose. It's not for nothing. He said he would not cause pain without allowing something new to be born. And just like last night, I don't know his name, but the guy was standing up here, and he was saying that our deepest pain or sorrow can be our deepest growth, or our biggest growth. And I can tell you, just me standing here, it's not easy, Zoe. I'm definitely experiencing growing pains. But as I said, I do the speaking. I also have a YouTube channel where I try to talk about these things that spurred from the topic to educate, education, not condemnation. And I don't have the books with me, but you can purchase them on Amazon exclusively there. And I do want to thank you for listening. And if you want to just come up to me, I'll give you a bookmark. I do have that, and it has my website on it. So thank you.